Grand Rising, beautiful souls. This is Divine. Hello. I wasn't ready for it to go online. I was just getting things set up. Today, I believe, is December 23rd. I guess you could call this the aftermath of the winter solstice. I'm going to take off my crooked glasses because, yeah, they're crooked. Not that I can see you. Got the light in my face. The sun's starting to go down. It's like 6 in the evening. But, I wanted to come on today because I had a little bit of, simply put it, an emotional release in the end, but it felt like a full midlife crisis. You know, in these moments in life, like when I was going through this process today, it was so overwhelming. And I remember last year, practically this day, holiday depression. It hits really hard. It comes to these moments when you have these thoughts because depression, it's like this whirlwind spiral. And it creeps up on you before you even really truly realize it's there. It's kind of like a cross between too much information at once, so your body can't process it all. So it kind of feels like an anxiety attack, but different, because your heart doesn't start racing, but you start having all these illogical thoughts. And you just want to scream and yell at everyone because you feel that no one can hear you. And then the words that they use aren't nurturing, aren't comforting, or supportive in a positive manner. They're more reactive. So then the spiral continues and you feel more aggression in your body. At least this is how I process it. And it's very hard for me to go through this process so much, because personally I thought I was beyond. I shouldn't use the word beyond, but I didn't feel that I was ever going to allow myself to fall into this emotion again. But it kind of just took hold of me before I even realized it was there. And so of course I was getting reactive to some things, and I was working at my best to be more responsive than reactive with my words. But there were a couple of friends that aren't in their healing journey, so their words are more reactive. So I got caught up in their reactive words. I feel bad about that. But at the same time, to be able to explain the difference, won't get there. It's a process, when you want to explain something to someone, but you don't know if they can grasp what you're saying because they haven't come to that revelation yet, or that realization yet. So sometimes with the mirror effect, I get very upset, and then you feel more upset, and then it's like that whole feeling small feeling. So I'm just going to take a moment here and breathe, because I was bawling for 20-30 minutes straight. So my eyes are a little puffy. My face is probably a little red. Because I do raw, uncut. I'm me. And my evolving self. But I have to say, I did not feel so divine in myself going through that process. And it was a very self-defeating process. And while I was going through the process, sometimes I would say to myself, now this is not what you expect of yourself to be at this point, because you worked through these issues last year a lot, and I'm in a totally different place, I'm in a totally different space, totally different set of friends that I communicate with more often again, new and old, and it's like, but those emotions poured down to, that was intense. I'm still processing how I was feeling. It was the hardest part about going through that emotional spiral is at the peak of it, it felt worse than it did last year. And I've kind of noticed that to be a progression in my depression because I'm 50 now, and I've evolved with so many things in so many different ways that you wouldn't think that the levels of depression would go so deep so fast. I mean, it was to the point where I started having random suicidal thoughts with no intention of being suicidal, but the thoughts were coming into my head, and it was like, how do I stop this? Like, I was like, whoa, let me put on the brakes with this. How do I stop this? How do I change this? So then, of course, I reached out to a couple people. A couple people were more reactive than responsive, but I had one in particular that sent me a song, which was really cool, but it was on Spotify, and I didn't have Spotify downloaded on my phone, so I only played the little intro of it. I started to download it, but then one of my other friends started responding. And like trying to give me suggestions of what to do, and I'm like, I'm crying so hard right now, I can't even see in front of my face to be able to drive home to do all those wonderful things that I know I could do. All I could do was sit in my car and breathe and use one of my electronics to help me calm down at this point. I did go to the store and get some food, so I ate a little bit, but I'm still not fully calm enough to eat a whole meal, just enough to like push down the gases that were coming up because I was on an empty stomach running around. And then I was responding to one of my friends on Facebook that made the comment about having a digital app to journal in, and I was like, I'd rather have a digital log to journal in, a video blog. And then I was like, I used to do that on YouTube. You know what? I thought to myself, let me make a video right now while I'm in the midst of this emotion, because it's really hard to describe an emotional spike to someone unless you're actually in it. But if you're living in the moment when you're crying, and you can't get words out. And since I just slowed down, I was like, let me not respond to anybody else and start this video. Holiday depression. For me in 2023 is very different than it was for me in 2022. In 2022, I still had a home, so I had a security of my own room. I had all my things around me. So I would have those comforts, even though I was depressed, even though I was having these crazy random thoughts of wanting to disappear. I still had my space. So I was at the dealership, and I just felt like I was stuck because the diagnostic was like almost $200. Then they wanted to charge me almost $700 to change the filter because it's a hybrid. And I'm just like, there has to be a better way. Then they started talking about finance and payment plan, which seemed good at the moment. But then when I was reading the fine print, it was almost $200 in interest. I was just like, and that's what started the escapade. Because I felt like I was being financially raped, and I had no way to get out of it. Because I went to 3 other places before I went to the dealership, but nobody would look at my car because it was a hybrid. And there's like, oh, you have to have a certified hybrid mechanic to work on your car. And I was like, I wasn't prepared. If I had taken the time to prepare myself in the morning before going to the stores, I wouldn't have gotten it so worked up. And it's a perfect example of how we need to do our daily self-care. See, one of my biggest issues in life is time management. So I always put my self-care first. If I'm late to something, it doesn't matter, because that was not where I was supposed to be. The universe was guiding me to do this for myself. Well, this morning, I was told I had to be on time. So when I woke up, I hit the button twice before I actually got out of bed. So I mixed that time that I was going to use for my meditation to slowly come out of sleep. So I had to jump up, take my shower, walk the dog, and go. I barely remembered to brush my teeth, let alone doing my morning oil rituals and my centering and all of that. I didn't take my supplements. I didn't have anything to drink before jumping and leaving and going out the door. So my body was not prepared for the day, for the venue out in the world. And I reacted to it so fast. I felt like the old way of me, like even the older way of me, like 5 years ago or something. And it was just like, that's not where I rest in. That's not what my body resonates with anymore. So I'm very grateful that I was able to work through this process. Stayed sitting in the car in the parking lot. Didn't try to drive like a wild, crazy person to get home, because if I had, I know I would have probably gotten in an accident, because it's just not, I wouldn't say not proper, it's just not in my best interest to have those types of reactions. So I'm grateful that that emotional outburst only lasted maybe 2 hours, I think. I'm not sure. It's like I left the service place around 3 something. And that was the other thing. I got there at like 9:30 and I didn't leave until 3:30. So that was very hard for me going through that and not eating. And then I was trying to get to the store and it was bumper to bumper traffic getting out of the mechanic service station. And it was a lot of pressure. And I was just feeling it coming down on me, like all the way coming down on me. Because I didn't prepare myself. I didn't do my proper self-care tools when I woke up this morning. So I felt like that old me being in that frantic mess. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that again. I'm so grateful that it only took me a couple hours to get through this process, to come back to this moment of being back in my body. Yeah, it was funny because when I got in the car, I smudged myself for a good 10 minutes. Like, I just let the car get all foggy with the sage. Just to have that emotional release, cleansing the air around me. I wish I had a bay leaf in the car because I love burning a bay leaf when I am anxious. It calms me down so fast. I mean, don't get me wrong, sage helps too. But the smell of the bay leaf sometimes works a little bit more for me. Each his own. Some like juniper, some like rue. I love dragon's blood, but I don't have it with me. Anyway. I feel better now, but it's a very busy parking lot, so there's a lot of outside distractions, and that was another thing. It was hard for me to detach from all that until I was able to just sit in my car, eat a little food. I was so anxious I couldn't even really drink my drink. There's someone parking next to me again. I tell you, there's been at least 10 cars next to me parking in and out of that spot. The other car hasn't moved, which I'm grateful for. But on this side, it's been a lot of chaos. Yeah, for sure. Normally when I make a video, there's nothing moving around me. There's nothing to catch my eye on the left or the right. But right now, since it's out and about in the busy holiday season, I am so grateful that I was able to bring this emotion back full circle and not let it consume me for as long as it did last year. And I'm going to be working on myself so much more over these next 24 hours to prepare myself, to protect myself from the next emotional spike that's going to hit me tomorrow. Because I'm sure this is not the first round of holiday depression coming in. But at least now, I know I can release it. I believe in myself more. I trust my friends and my community more. I had faith Last year I had faith in people that had no faith in me. This year my faith is in people that have faith in me. That makes a difference. It really does. I'm still sad about the people that don't want me in their life, but I have to realize that's not my issue. That's their issue. So whatever I present to them that they're not ready to work on, I have to let that go. And come to realize the more I work on myself, there's more out there that are more resistant to it. But then there's more out there that crave it and want to learn it and love it and are so elatedly grateful that I am back in the area to be able to share those emotions with them. Happy bliss, understanding, love, and self-care. It makes a difference when you have a stronger support group. This last year, from the separation, I didn't know who I could or couldn't trust. I felt that I had to make all new friends. Because I could see who was still his friends, and even some of his friends would check on me, and it was like, are you checking on me because you want to be my friend or because you're retrieving information? I never worried about it one way or the other until the aftermath. Like when I'm on an emotionally down day, the questions would pop in. Because normally they don't come up in my brain. I don't think about it. Other people will say certain questions to me like, well, what if this person wants this or something? And like, I can't even fathom questions that people would ask me because I wouldn't think to ask them. But that's a different tangent. It's so hard to see myself without the glasses. I'm gonna have to put my crooked glasses on. Yeah, so they're crooked. I've tried to straighten them out and they don't. They just stay crooked. Last 3 pair I bought have been kind of crooked. And what to do to help alleviate your holiday depression? Reach out to your friends, the ones that you know are gonna give you loving responses, not the ones that you crave to hear from that are going through issues. Talk to the ones that you know can give you loving and healing responses. And if you're not sure who those are, then reach out to someone that seems to be a loving, healing person. And you'd be surprised on how they're willing to talk to you, a stranger. Because love loves to share love. Love loves to receive love. Love loves to give love. So if you see a loving influencer on social media and you feel that you have no loving person in your life, reach out to them. I'm sure they'll respond to you in a loving way, in that way that you need. Start listening to more positive interviews of people from people. Only listen to people that are in alignment with your loving, caring self. Ones that you know are going to talk in depth about what you believe in, what you've put in your life to manifest. If you want to change your manifestation, change your friends. It's the fastest way. Because the ones around you are the ones that influence you. So if the ones around you are always struggling and saying those words that are hurtful, that's all you're going to get back. Find some other friends. Find people that have those loving, nurturing words to say. Even if you don't think, oh, they're going to be your bestie, that's fine. Just find someone to have a good conversation with. Someone that's just going to say, you're worth it. I love you. Remember that. You're worth it. And I do love you. We'll talk again soon, my love. You have an amazing, beautiful day. You bless souls.